Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Tome Travelers, a fantasy science fiction book club podcast. And it is a new month, and so it is a new book. And this book we are reading, Red Rising. This episode we are going to be reading all of part 1 of Red Rising. Normally we only do like a couple chapters, but Dylan had read this before, and he was like, all of part 1, so we were like, bet.
It wasn't very long either.
No, it's like 48 pages, something like that.
That was not bad at all.
And the way the book's like structured, it's like in like I think 4 parts and chapters in different parts. So like when we do this next part, we'll have to do like part something, chapter something, and it could get a little confusing. but
we'll figure it out. But before we get into all those spoilers and things like that, a couple quick announcements. First announcement, whoop-de-doo, it's a big day. Our Patreon is out live now with 11 bonus episodes. I know we said 12 previously, but I think we're ending up shrinking them down because we realized the sequel books don't necessarily need that starter episode. So we have 6 episodes of Rhythm of War, 3 episodes of Before They're Hanged, and 2 episodes of Last Argument of Kings. So you can go check those out on our Patreon today. As of the release of this episode, all of them are up. That's crazy. Who you know that's doing what we're doing right now? Also, like if you're a Patreon, you get some special stuff. We'll put your name at the end of our videos. You'll get a special Discord role in our Discord, and fun things like that.
When we get that set up, that is not immediately, but it's coming.
It's coming. These things are coming. We're very new to this whole thing.
Yes, but the content will be there.
Yeah. Content all there. Before we jump in, though, we've got our fantasy question. Whitson, hit us with it.
So what sci-fi fantasy messiah would you follow? So any chosen one, any religious figurehead.
All right,
I can take it. I've got mine.
Yeah, go for it.
Paul Atreides, Kwisatz Haderach. My boy.
Why? Anything specific without spoilers?
Fear is the Mind Killer. I love that book. The philosophy of that book is awesome.
Fair enough.
Love it, love it, love it.
I haven't finished Dune, but hopefully we'll be reading it very soon on the podcast, so I'm excited for it. My answer, you asked this question, and I immediately had a great thought. Kelsier. Okay. Granted, I've only read the first one, so no spoilers, but Kelsier definitely became a chosen one-esque religious figurehead at the end. No spoilers for those who haven't read it, because that did kind of flip my world across, or upside down, after the first book, of Mistborn.
Dylan was struggling with this.
Yeah, I honestly have no clue. Because, like, I can't just, like, immediately think of someone that's like that I would be okay with all of their agendas. So it's like, do I pick someone I can manipulate? Yeah, I really have no clue.
All right, we're just throwing him in the Dragons train then. You get to go with Randall Tor.
Sure, man. I don't know. I was like sitting here trying to think like who's somebody like I would be okay with being behind, but it's like especially after reading their stories and like all their thought processes, it's like probably not people I should be following. You know? What I mean?
I can see you following Gandalf.
I wouldn't say Gandalf's
a chosen one or a messiah.
Well, I mean, he's like a religious figure.
That's fair, actually. He is like an angel, world. Basically.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. I'll hang out with Gandalf.
Yeah, Sir Ian McKellen, bro. Yeah. Just hearing him chilling, that'd be lit. All right.
Yeah.
Everyone, listen up. We really need your help with fantasy questions. So, if you could just leave a comment.
Did we announce the super fight thing last episode?
I think so. No, I don't think we announced it. We're thinking about changing it up because we don't really know anymore. So we're having these ideas of doing like fantasy battles, but we're worried about spoilers in those things because there definitely would be some spoilers in those things. So let us know if that's something you want.
If somebody hasn't read the book that we're referencing, then it's just like just wasted like 3 minutes of their time. So yeah, help us out. Give us some ideas.
Yeah. But I guess with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into episode 25. It's 25, right? I'm 90% sure.
Should be.
The Tome Travelers. All right, Dylan.
All right.
The synopsis.
So, Red Rising. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. Love these books. I've only read the first 3. I want to start the next 3 after we do this. But we jump in, we get our prologue, and we hear Darrow talking. And he's basically like, I'm about to rain hellfire on these bitches. Like, I'm going to make it happen. But then we, it brings us into his life as far as like when he's a Red. And we see that he's a driller. Like, he's day in, day out, blue collar, surviving, making helium for or is it helium or hydrogen?
It's helium.
Helium-3.
Helium. Yeah, helium-3. He's making that so that they can terraform Mars to make it where the people of Earth can come and live on top of Mars. We also get introduced to 2 other colors that we know of: silver and gold. Or not? Is it silver?
Gray.
Gray. We get introduced to gray and gold. So there's 2 different other colors, and it's kind of like there's all have their different jobs. So like reds are like the miners, grays are like the policemen, and then golds are like the leaders,
politicians.
Yep. And then basically we just get an intro to his life, and then we see him and his wife break a rule, and then she really breaks a rule, and there's consequences to that. And so what did y'all think?
Really sad right out the gate.
Yeah, no cap. I have 2 thoughts. My first thought is I get some serious District 12 Hunger Games vibes. Like that, like the revolution, the song, like all that. My second thought, and this is probably just a me thing. I'm not a huge fan of the first person present tense.
Yeah.
Like,
well, okay. So speaking of this, reminding you of another book. This reminds me of Elric of Melnibone, by Michael Moorcock. So fucking much. Like right out the gate, it's like damn near 1-to-1, except that Elric was always royalty. He didn't have to like rise up the ladder, but he has the whole like downtrodden, like fuck all these people and all this pretentious bullshit. Like lots of influence there. I think it's also first person present tense.
Interesting.
So this book has been compared to Hunger Games a lot, especially y'all will see even further into the book. I think it's way better than Hunger Games, but I guess that's a personal.
Hey, those books slapped when we were teenagers. I don't know if they hold up, but
yeah,
they were good.
But yeah, I just the first person present tense thing. I don't know. I think I just like having like a distinct narrator who is like inside of the thoughts of the person instead of it being like constantly, I think this or I see this. I do this. Maybe that's just a me thing though. But what pisses me off is I started off I was like not vibing with it at all. And then by the end of it, I was like, well, now I'm freaking pulled into this. And now I got to read this crap. And I actually want to read this crap because of that freaking ending. I was like, what? So yeah, you got me, Dylan.
Yeah. Well, so that's one reason that I did it the way I did, because it was like there wasn't really. So unless we just did the prologue, there wasn't really a good spot to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge calm from Dylan right here.
And I think that where I had y'all stop was what really, because before that it's just like, oh, we're trying to get this Laurel and Like
Mhm.
there's no like you said, there's nothing to draw you in, and
action.
there's no substance really. It's just like backstory almost.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and then that first death hits, and then that second death hits. It's like, okay, now I got to
It's
see
like
what's going on.
what? Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially because it was first person present tense. And then
right.
it's just like
Right. Well, and that's
I
what. So like,
yeah.
we were on we just did our Patreon episodes, and I was talking about emotion, like feeling emotional for these characters, and I happened to be reading this at the same time, and I was like, man, it's so easy to compare that because it's like with the, especially the first person present tense, like you feel those emotions when he sees EO die,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
then
say the one thing I like about first person, just generally, is it feels a little bit more like you're flying by the seat of your pants.
yeah,
Like you're in the kind of shit with the character.
mhm,
Like as they're realizing things, you realize things. So it just there's like motion to it. It's like
Mhm.
more kinetic.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it into words even, but it just
I can
feels
pick up what you're
more
putting down, yeah.
fast.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I actually like it. I that's coming. Y'all both know I love narrators, especially like where it's like like it's the narrator's the character, but they're
Yeah.
speaking from the future. I
Yeah.
love that in books.
Yeah.
But this really,
Growth
yeah,
and like yeah.
this this really didn't bother me. Like I really enjoyed this book, and like I didn't even notice that it was in first person present tense until y'all said so. But like, I mean, I noticed like subconsciously
Mhm.
probably, but it wasn't a forethought that as I was reading.
It's
Um,
definitely interesting because like with books that are like first person but they're speaking from the future, you know that they survive.
right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like all right, I know they're chilling. We legitimately did not know what was going to happen and it happened.
Yeah.
We can spoiler it because if you haven't read up to the end of part 1 then what are you doing? But like freaking him dying at the very end, I was like we're really going to get like attached to this character and then just like ripped like the thing is like Sanderson, yeah, in the first episode or first chapter of Way of Kings, he gets us attached to this tiny little character who's new on the battlefield and then just wipes him out. He doesn't do that with all of part 1. Like I was just
Yeah.
like, "Huh?"
So,
So,
what did y'all think about the society so far, as far as like the Laurel, and then like it's rigged, and then EO's way of like uh, um, rebellion, and then Darrow just being okay with things, and then
Well, I gotta say, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me yet why she decided to martyr herself, what her motivation was.
yeah.
Like, I get it; she wants them to be free, and like she sees them all as slaves. But like, I feel like there maybe wasn't a ton of context for that. But this
Yeah.
book is also kind of short, and it seems like it moves pretty quick.
yeah, it does move really quick.
Um, and like I can buy into it, like several generations of people dying in their 20s and 30s, like harsh living conditions, and I can buy into the fact that just one like really smart girl was like, "Oh, this system's fucked. Fuck this whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
we gotta fix this." I can get that, but
So
um,
that there's
it just
clues.
felt a little rushed.
Yeah. Well, okay. So there's clues to why. Um, yeah, there's clues to why, like all of a sudden she jumped the gun on it. But
I kind of just assumed that finding that garden had something to do with it.
so what do you think she whispered to Dio as she was dying?
I don't. Who's Dio?
Her sister. She called. Remember, she called her sister up there, and Darrow was
Okay.
Darrow was upset that he didn't, or she didn't call him.
Yeah. I have no idea.
I
Honestly,
don't
I need
know.
to start reading the text because the audiobook, the dude's voice is cool and all, but their recording equipment was ass.
Yeah, I really enjoyed reading the physical copy more than I
Yeah.
did the audiobook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling to understand the audiobook
Mhm.
sometimes.
So, yeah, there are clues to why she kind of jumped the gun on it, but it is a lot of, like you said, most of them don't live past their 30s, uh,
Yeah.
early 30s. Um, That's why Narrow, the uncle, is such a like huge character because it's like he's made it that long. So it's like, um,
He's like a respected figure.
right. And then it's like basically they work all day in and out, and like the wives and stuff. It talks about how they have to go to the gammas and beg for just essentials, and some of them have to sell their bodies and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, basically like it's not a good situation down there. And when she finds that garden, she knows, that's part of it. And also, I believe, I think y'all find that out in the next. But yeah, there are subtle clues as to other reasons why, like she sings the song and jumps the gun on it, and then you'll find out more.
I'm sure they'll be more apparent to us once we finish this, or as we go more forward.
Well, and so like one of the biggest reasons she gives though is that she knows that Darrow can make a difference, but he's not going to unless something happens, and so she makes.
He's definitely down with the sickness. He's like, guys, I'm just gonna do my job. You should just do yours.
Yeah, he's basically like,
we're part of the society, man.
Yeah, yeah. He's buying into the Kool-Aid, and
I get it. I mean, I really like that perspective. Like, somebody who does blue collar labor, like you have to have something that you take a lot of pride in to like prop up your self esteem because you're getting fucking stepped on all the time. So like, I can definitely sympathize with that viewpoint where he's like, I'm just going to be the best fucking hell diver that's ever lived, and that will be that'll be my point of pride. That'll be what I hang my hat on.
Yeah.
And like, fuck everything else. As long as I'm perfect at this, I can feel good about myself.
Yeah.
That is a very real thing.
Right. That, and also he actually believes that he's helping terraform Mars.
Yeah.
So people can come live there, and he feels like he's like a savior to these people.
Yeah.
He's making a difference. Right. So going off that, where do you think we're going to go from? What do you think happens after?
Dude, I don't know. Does he actually die?
Does he?
I don't know. Okay, well, here's my thought. Right. Because I really liked the quote that they started off the book with. On Mars, there's not much gravity, so you have to pull the feet to break the neck. They let the loved ones do it. Well, Eo's dead, so who pulls his legs?
His uncle. Remember, because his brother started to, and his uncle pushed him out of the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
I must have zoned out of like shock. But
yeah.
But I was gonna say there's no one left to love him, so he just doesn't. I don't think maybe he dies. Or maybe he dies and like we go to some weird afterlife thing. I don't know where this book could go.
Well, like, presumably there's like nanite healing and like advanced medical technology. And like, where do the golds come from? Like, how are the golds selected? Is it just a caste system, or do they pick people? Right? Because if they pick people, then maybe he gets picked. They kill him, like, as a demonstration of, like, you should be obedient to all of his people, and then res him and throw him in with the golds because he was exceptional in some way.
Because he was down with the sickness.
Yeah, because he was down with the sickness.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. So, speaking of quotes, there's a lot of really there's some bangers in this book and the next book. So like one of the ones I love it's one of the first quotes. It's like I was happy with peace, and then my enemies brought me war, or something like that.
I think that's in the opening credits.
Yeah, it's like at the beginning.
I liked the imagery of like him having to drill into these tunnels, like creating these tunnels and having gas pockets everywhere, and the pit vipers. Thought that was really cool. Reminded me of I don't know if you guys have watched a bunch of the like insider business videos on YouTube where it's palm kernel oil and like bananas, and like this is how people in blah blah country do blah blah bit of agriculture,
Yeah.
and the shit's always horribly dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
especially the palm kernel oil. Um, the palm trees that grow the oil palms, they're like 60 feet tall, and cobras nest in the fruits. So these dudes will shimmy up the trees with harnesses made out of bark, with a tool made out of a green piece of wood with an axe head just strapped onto it, and that's what they use to knock the fruits down. And if a cobra jumps out at you, you just got to kill it with your handmade axe and try
Jeez.
not to fall off the fucking tree.
So what
That's
did
what it
you?
reminded me of.
Well, so going on right off to that, like he at one point, he gets I think it's his leg stuck, and he's talking about his scythe. He said, "I got told when I was young this would save my life at the cost of a limb." What do
Yeah.
y'all think about that?
I thought he was just going to slice his foot off,
Yeah.
and then
Was it
then he
like
just hacked his
127
boot.
hours? Just.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to be real impressed with how fucking cold this 16-year-old was.
Well, I mean, it's what they've grown up knowing. It's
Yeah.
like they see people all the time with missing limbs because they got stuck or whatever.
Yeah, it's
So it's like
normalized.
it's normalized. Yeah. So, anything else y'all want to talk about? We kind of talked where y'all think it's gonna go. Um,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I mean, clearly he has to end up at the golds
Yeah.
at some point because of the opening credits, right? So I think he does the martyrdom thing, same way his wife did, basically, and then gets rezzed.
so
by Hard.
one more kind of interesting thing that happened that I don't know if y'all picked up on, but it talks about there's the monitors, the TVs around
Mm-hmm.
that are always on the same thing and never go out. And then he's talking about how
They start to go out.
they start to go out and they keep playing EO's song.
Yeah, is that the terrorist group? Maybe.
Okay, is it?
Well, presumably. Oh, so maybe they swoop in and rescue him, and
Yeah.
then put him in as like a spy, double agent kind of thing.
Ooh.
Could see that.
But
I don't
no,
know.
I hope y'all enjoy this one as much as I do because I love these books. Like I've been reading them. Like I finished the first three like super quick. But
Yeah.
It's interesting so far.
So where are we reading to for next episode?
So we are reading to uh part 3, chapter 28.
That's 3.
Yeah, so we'll read through chapter 28. So we'll stop at so like you'll get to 29 and you'll stop.
Right.
Okay.
Word.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Did you set us up for a big cliffhanger?
Not necessarily a cliffhanger,
Something good to
but
discuss,
something
probably.
good to discuss.
Okay.
Do we want to jump into our TBRs real quick? Because it's been a while.
It's been a while. I've read a decent amount of stuff here.
I can go first. I think I don't think I had finished it last time we've talked. I finished Mistborn finally. That's why the answer to my question was Kelsier. And then I've also started Secret Project 4, which is the Sunlit Man, and I'm about halfway through that. And any Stormlight Archive fan needs to read that book because it is, I don't think it's spoilers to say this, it is Sigil in the future. So
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
it's really good.
Yeah, I need to order it while I'm home.
It's so good.
No.
But yeah,
Reading anything else?
I don't think so. Once I finish Sunlit Man, I think I'm gonna try and finish the Elantris graphic audio. Just because I just want to finish it. But I'll be honest, it's rough. I love you, Sandy, but it's rough. That's me.
Mine's short. I'm reading The Burning Light. Little peek behind the curtain. I did not read 3 books in one day.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm on the Burning White, and God, if you got anybody who liked the first two books, it just gets better. It just gets better. Um, Still working on the Wheel of Time. Like 15 minutes a day. I read a little bit of that. And then Codex Alera, book two, still halfway through it, reading like 5 pages a week of it at this point. Mostly just because Lightbringer has sucked up so much of my time. So good.
Um, I've been all over the place. Had I read? Did I talk about how I read the first book of the Powder Mage trilogy?
I remember you mentioning
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's the one I ended on. So I read the first Dark Tower. So I really wanted to read those. I wanted to read those for a long time.
I thought
Um,
you read those in middle school and high school.
I started the first book in high school, but I didn't get very far.
Oh, okay.
Something else came out at the time, and I jumped into reading it. I had to like take it back to the library. So, um, but I actually finished it this time, and have a lot of sleep and a clear open head because it's like kind of trippy, kind of deep. You definitely don't want to be like so I was working nights. I was half asleep, like just making enough energy drinks, and I'm like sitting there like
Trying to keep up.
I was halfway keeping up, but at the same time I was like, man, I'm too tired for this. But and then I jumped into this lit RPG novel called Dungeon Crawler Carl, and it was just super fun, super fun. Basically, so like basically aliens like run the universe, and like they set planets up for like this money making scheme where they when you're like your planet's ready, they come down and they make this like game show. Um, and so basically they come to Earth and they kill like most like not like 90% of the population or something, and then the rest of them go into this like underground labyrinth type thing, and they make a game show out of it. They televise it across the universe and stuff, and it's about this guy that is chasing his cat, and ends up in one of these tunnels to go into the labyrinth, and gets put on this game show, and basically like his cat becomes to where it can talk and think, and like they're arguing all the time, and it's super fun, super funny. They go on like like talk shows and stuff, and and they're just trying to survive. And he's like, "Why are y'all making me do this? I'm just trying not to get fucking killed." But yeah, it's super funny and super fun. Um, and then I finished the first two books of the of Blood and Bone. So Time of Blood, Time of Dread, which is the
John
second
Glenn.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Glenn, the second series to the Faithful and the Fallen. Super good. Which Faithful and Fallen was super good, so I'm not surprised. I think I like Faithful and the Fallen more, but I, I still really enjoyed these books. I feel like he might have had to rush them a little more. It feels
Well,
like it's a little faster paced.
they're between Faithful and the Fallen and
Shadow of
like
Gods.
Hunger of the Gods and Shadow of the Gods,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so is it that the case, or is Hunger of the Gods and Shadow of the Gods a prequel?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I haven't read
I
them,
want to
but they're
say
on
it's
my
in the
TBR.
same world, but later.
Right. So what I've heard is
I
I've
think.
heard Hunger of the Gods and Shadow of the Gods though are better than both these.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
heard
what
it.
I've heard
No.
too.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
So once I finish this third book, I'm probably going to jump into that, and then obviously I've read the first three books in the Red Rising series. So
Word.
that's where I'm at.
Dylan's out here on the grind.
Well, it's been what? It's been 4 weeks.
Yeah,
3
it's been
weeks?
about a month. Little peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, we'll peek behind the curtain. It's been
We had
3
to
or
get
so
that
weeks.
Patreon content going.
We did.
Um,
Well, everyone, thanks for watching or listening. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, or follow on your preferred platform. We're on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and now Patreon. And so you can get all of our content on Patreon, as well as bonus episodes, early access to episodes, and special Discord rules and fun things like that. So Also, make sure you check out our TikTok. It's at at Home Travelers Pod. And you can leave some YouTube comments or join the Discord and get in a discussion with us. So we will see you all next episode for